you're not on the field, court or ice, you're on the couch. From DG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, CWall, delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from a hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's CWall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you're not on the field. Cold on the ice, pick any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. CWall and we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.
Good evening. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Coaching from the Couch, live from the WBGR Sports Network studios. I am your host, CWall. I'm already getting tongue-tied. It's because I'm excited. When am I not on a Thursday? When am I not? And listen, our apologies. We know we started a little bit late, but trust me, we gonna make sure you get all this 30 minutes in. So stay tuned. We gonna add it in on the back end for sure. But welcome. Yes, we are all here. And I'm here with my team members. I'm here with Sabrina. I'm here with Joy. And I'm here with all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before we get started, you know I have to tell you all to do what? Share the show. Please make sure you are sharing the show with your DC DMV sports loving family and friends. We want everybody to tune in. Hey, listen, it's always good to watch it later, but you got to get in on the live conversation, y'all. We love to chat with you all live and to share you all's input while we're talking about the teams that we love in this area. They might work your nerves, but they we just gonna focus on the love part. That's what we gonna focus on. So let me try to look. I'm gonna try to pull y'all up. Y'all know every time I get on here, I'm gonna try to pull y'all up, and then I don't be knowing what I'm looking at either, quite frankly. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're all here. Share. Apologies again. Let's go ahead and get started, everybody. So, announcements like they do in church. First, I want to give a shout out to the University of Maryland Terps. They have 77 student athletes that earned the Big Ten, their conference, spring all academic honors. 77 student athletes. That's big. Congratulations to you all. Phenomenal job. Always got to shout out the student athletes for doing what it is that they do. That came across my desk earlier today, and I said, you know what? That's what's up. And while we're not going to go through all of the 77 students, we do want to shout out and acknowledge that they did have that great accomplishment this spring. So, awesome job, you guys. Also, in the announcements, the Mystics season starts on Saturday, June 1st. Come on here. Come on. Let's go, Washington Mystics. Let's go. So listen, they have a pregame block party that is prior to the first home game this Saturday. It's at the new Entertainment and Sports Arena out in Ward 8 in Congress Heights. So they're going to have Belladonna is performing. The Experience Band is performing. They're going to have former Mystics, Shamika Holslaw and Monique Curry is going to be out there signing autographs. It's going to be games. It's just going to be a whole lot of fun. And we want to make sure that it's packed out there. And then we're going to go and have a good time. Make sure you all get your tickets. If you haven't, the block party is free to attend. It is free to attend. There will be food and merchandise on sale. The event is going to be on Oak Drive from 2 to 6:30 p.m. Game starts at 7, but again, 2 to 6:30 p.m. Okay? Washington Mystics, pre-game, home opener, block party. I want to see you all out there. more announcements. Have to share that Washington Redskins tight end and former Terp football star Vernon Davis will be taking over at the Nando's. They got good chicken at Nando's. It's good. It's bomb chicken. The Peruvian chicken is really, really good. The one in College Park, he will be there from 5 to 7. But they're doing this whole event the whole day. But Vernon will be there from 5 to 7. All proceeds going toward the Vernon Davis Foundation of the Arts. Okay? That's the other announcement. What other announcements do I have? Oh, do have another announcement. I don't even know if this is a real announcement or if this is like one of those nostalgic moments. That's what that is. Today in Stanley Cup sports history was the day that Braden Holtby saved the cup. It was that miraculous save. Now, I would tell anybody, I have to bring this up. Even though, it's probably real selfish of me to bring this up because the Caps been put out the Stanley Cup and people are playing in the Stanley Cup finals now. They have nothing to do with the Caps. But it's been all over my memories and all over my news feed all day. I said, you know what? We have to remember this moment. And so for all my fellow Caps fans, I am with you. This is part of the announcements of one of the most memorable moments. For me, at least, it was two. It was when the Caps, I almost called them the Wizards, when the Caps beat the Pittsburgh Penguins last year, and then it was that save, that mighty save that Braden Holtby did, and I knew at that moment, I said, we have the championship glow. He's got ice running through his veins. No pun intended. It was real. And then we won, and then this year, here we go, and we lost. So it's already, and I see questions coming in already. We're gonna try to get to everybody's questions. Any questions that come up, we're gonna try to get to them. I already see that Cheryl has a question about the Redskins cornerback. Before we get into that, because now it was a lot. We had a whole agenda for today. But let me try to get into the Nats first. Let me try to get into the Nats because I had a whole spiel last week dogging the Nats. Dragging them. I dragged them. I ripped it down and just was dragging them all across the studio last week. And I feel good about that. I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel bad about that at all. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit up here and fake for nobody because y'all are my people. We are family out here. I don't have time to be lying, to be sitting up here and acting like everything is okay when I don't think it is. So they were pretty pathetic. But this week, what can you say? What can we, and thank you, Rain. Thank you for saying they deserved it. They absolutely deserved it. I couldn't hold back on that one. That's my line sister right there. I could not hold back. I had to let it be known. I had to let my conscience had to be free. So this week, they actually look good. Now, I don't know what that means, right? Because I'm not fooling with these people. They finally have swept the team. They swept the Atlanta Braves. That ain't half bad. Because, see, I had to catch up. I have to be honest with you. I had to catch up on the games because I was on vacation, so I had to catch up. And when I saw the score, it was like 14-0 in the fifth inning. And I said, is this right? I asked some of my fellow Nats fans. I said, what is this? Who are they playing? I'm calling them the Falcons. Are the Braves that bad? And I had to go look up. And then my fellow Nat fan, Simone Taylor, she told me, oh no, the Braves are pretty good. We don't know what's going on. So we were all shocked. But kudos to them. I don't know what this means, Nats fans. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it means they've turned the corner. I don't know if they've already felt the pressure down on them. What I do know is this. They've been recovering from injuries. I mean, injuries have to account for something. So they have been in the recovery mode with the injuries. I have to say, Strasburg and Sanchez pitching superb. Very good. Awesome. Awesome. Doing a great job. And what I really loved about it was that the Nats came out early with the scoring. That's how you got to do. Get ahead quick, but just don't falter. Get ahead. Knock it out of the park. The bats are working. Everybody's getting a hit. Offensively, they definitely showed up. I hope this is a great sign. I hope this is truly a turning point. We will never know. We really don't know. I can't say enough about Sean Doolittle. Every time I say it, please don't be sorry, Doolittle. Please don't, because I like you a lot. And I don't want, you about the only saving grace in that bullpen for me. So keep the positive juices flowing. It looked good. They play again. They'll see their former teammate Tanner Rourke when they play the Cincinnati Reds this weekend, starting tomorrow. So we'll see how things go. But this week, first Nats, sweep, versus the Braves, first sweep of the season. And against the Braves, they did good. They looked good. They looked the way they should. Hopefully, this is a turning point, you all. But I don't think so. I mean, maybe so. Maybe so. If I'm wrong, when I start, I like to be wrong when it comes to stuff like this, So hopefully this is all good stuff and all good signs. All good signs. I don't know, Rain. The rest of the bullpen is totally inconsistent. Sean Doolittle has been saving them. Thank you. Woo! And maybe everybody else can catch up after that. All right, cool. So let's move on. Got to talk about the Wizards. Did you all, I hope everyone that is watching had an opportunity just a couple hours ago. NBC Sports Washington, Chris Miller did an exclusive interview with Ted Leonsis. And how timely. I think it was so timely. Today was, what was that? Athletes and Activism was today downtown. It was I did not attend in person, but from the pictures and all of the summaries that I received, it looks like it was a fabulous event. Very well attended. So a lot of feedback on that event. Of course, with Ted, it wasn't about the Caps. This interview, it wasn't about the Caps. It wasn't about the new sports book. It's what everybody wants to know. What's going on with the Wizards? So I had to handwrite some notes, y'all, because this came out and I was getting prepped for the show. So I'm like, Lord, I got to see and listen to this and handwrite some notes. So listen, I don't know who listened to it, but I want to share some of the takeaways that I really felt good about, and some not so much. So when it comes to the Mystics, I'm going to go to the Mystics first, even though the focus was what's going on with the Wizards. Ted is truly being a trendsetter, a trailblazer when it comes to what he's doing in the WNBA and what he's doing for the Mystics. Let's be very clear. What he's doing with the Mystics, what he's doing with the G League, what he's doing with all his other business ventures. Even he said that himself. There was all his other business ventures, even the way he approached it is very different than how he approaches, things with the Wizards from a business standpoint. So it was good to hear one of the things that you all have heard me say, and I will say this to you all. I will say this about others in the industry. Oh my gosh, you sell me on transparency. You sell me when you can be honest about, this is not how I normally do this. And you can tell because the way he has positioned the WNBA and the G League, even with having their own arena, is very different than what they're doing across the WNBA, right? So, he talked about Adam Silver's comment a couple weeks ago of more women in front, in basketball league sport, front offices and as coaches. And he said simply, his organization, they haven't even gotten started. I mean, they're starting, but it really hasn't gotten a real push in doing that. But it's really about seeing balance. And one of the things that I really like, let me see if I can find it here in my notes. It was, players and fans need to see themselves in the organization they support. And coming from me, y'all see what I look like, right? You can see me. I don't have to tell you what I look like. That meant a lot to me because that means something. You do want to see more of you in an organization that you support. So I felt that. I felt that, and I believe him in that. And he talked a bit more about balance, all those things that I like to hear. All those things. What was interesting is when Chris was started to mention the questions that he receives from Wizards fans that he knows. And he says, it's just the pent-up passion. Let me go. I don't want to misquote him. The pent-up passion and love of this fan base. So, of course, he went back and he tried to, of course, bring up what happened last year with the Caps winning the Stanley Cup. And the interesting thing was, he commented, he said, the Caps winning turned it into into a hockey town. But he truly believes that DC is a basketball town. And I'm like, that's debatable. Because, it wasn't a hockey town necessarily. It was just that the hockey team won. But we could debate all day long whether it's a basketball town. Because I deep down feel inside that this is still very much a football town. But at the same token, whoever's winning, that's what town it is. Quite frankly, that's what town it is. So, he did say in this interview that one of the things he has left to do is to win a Wizards championship. So he still wants to very much win a championship. Okay? Very much so. Good. I want to hear all of those things. Some things that were so interesting to me was the difference in how he said he only talked to one person, because that was what was set up. So in this case, the one person we all know that he was talking to was Ernie Grunfeld. And he talked to Ernie, and then Ernie go do whatever he wanted to do. But now he's making an effort at actually talking to others in the organization, talking to others across the league, and just getting feedback, understanding what's working well and what's not working well. And I appreciated his transparency in saying this is not something that I did before, and I did not handle this well. My leadership approach for the Wizards, this was not good. This was not the best approach. It wasn't a good approach. I can appreciate that all the time. Because, see, we all knew that. But, for him to come out and say, hey, listen, this wasn't a good approach, which we know it wasn't. What was also very interesting, one of my challenges with the Wizards GM search is that I don't feel like there's a sense of urgency. Ted clearly shared that like you can just tell the sense of urgency thing, and he made a comment, saying you're not gonna where is it? Hold on, did I lose it in all these notes? It would be irresponsible. This is what he said. It would be irresponsible to shareholders to hire someone after a 2-hour interview. He does not feel, he thinks the due diligence process can sometimes be a lengthy one. I can appreciate that perspective. I don't totally disagree with that perspective. I think we're looking at what's going on. He just has a different approach to doing this. And he wants to do it while we all are like, where's the sense of urgency? Where's the sense of urgency? If you have not listened to that interview, I would encourage you to do so, to really understand what he's saying, hearing it from his mouth, right? Because this is an important job, and he feels like he needs to have a little bit more connection. I need to do a little bit more background check on you. I need to figure this out. And they made jokes and made analogies about when he got married. I think the first time he met his wife, he said he'd been married for 33 years. He didn't know he was just going to marry her, Now we just going to be married. Because with these jobs, essentially, that's what it is. So, to John Adams just said, it makes me respect him for due diligence. That's all we can do. That's all we can do is respect the process and respect the fact that he explained it in the manner that he did very clearly. I still want a bit of a sense of urgency, but hey, this man has a way that he does his business and he runs his business. And he's like, no, which makes me go back to what happened last week when everybody was like, either did they make the offer to Tim Connolly or did they not make the offer to Tim Connolly? It sounds like to me that the report from Candace Buckner was accurate, which was they talked about it, but no specific details were shared. That's what it sounds like to me, because he straight up said, I'm not going to do that I'm not going to do this after a 2-hour interview. So I'm like, hey, that lets me know that he didn't, you know what I mean? And that's the way that he handles that. I can't be mad at that. You know what I'm saying? I can't be mad at that. Another thing that came up, and Raina's mentioning, the Wizards need a new coach. They owe Scott, Scott Brooks is getting a lot of money, and they really like Scott. Scott is a nice guy. I'm always going to go to that. He's a great guy. He really, really is. And I think he has a lot of positives. But when you're trying to coach very type A personalities, that's probably where the disconnect is with him. And I enjoyed it. Another thing that he mentioned in this interview was that now he's getting daily reports, like on John's health. He mentioned that CWall was at his house over the weekend. And I guess before, he really wasn't talking to the players like that. He was just relying on one person to tell him what was going on, and that was it. So now he's getting daily reports. He shared, which was kind of funny, he said that he made a comment, John is falling back in love with the process. So that lets me know that, yeah, there was some disconnect there with John. There was some, whatever's going on. He's a new dad. His mom is been ill. And then he got hurt. Then he got hurt again. And so he's got a lot going on, which who knows how that processes. Everybody processes everything different. So at the same token, it's positive that he acknowledged, yeah, I had to tell John, we made a joke, I saw some pictures of you last summer and you was looking broke down. Essentially is what he said. But you're doing a bit better. You look better. Because that's what he said. He looks really good. He looks better. And so I'm like, well, that's good. That's good. And I'm like, so that was the Wizards exclusive. There is me encouraging everybody to go check out this interview with Ted Leonsis that Chris Miller of NBC Sports Washington conducted. It gives some great insight. Even if you don't agree, and even if you don't like it, and even if you still sit at the edge of your seat like I am about who's going to be the new Wizards GM, at least it gives some insight to the way he's conducting business. At least it provides some insight into where he can acknowledge and be open and very transparent about where he's gone wrong in his approach. And I respect it. I was good with it. I was like, you know what? That's that man's house, and I'm gonna keep talking about. I'm gonna stop telling him how to vacuum his carpet. That's what I'm gonna stop doing. But no, it was all good. It was all good. Like Cheryl saying, you show the money, and the team will cheer. The team, everybody just wants to win. Winning cures everything. Winning cures everything. You won't have one daggone problem if you show, the winnings. They're gonna come. Because even when they losing, they there. So people still there. So yeah, so that's all good. I'm trying to think of anything else he said. I think I probably beat that horse. I enjoyed it. Go check it out. I think was exactly what needed to be done and what needed to be shared, because it's been 8 weeks. it's been 8 weeks since with no GM. So people are getting antsy. This has been much. What are we doing here, people? So I think it's all good. All right. Redskins for the remainder of the show. Redskins for the remainder of the show. I think Miss Cheryl asked a question about Clint Capella. I don't know if the Wizards are going to acquire Clint Capella. I don't know. What I will say is hey, business is business, and these things change daily. What I will say is, based on the interview, it sounded like Brad and John are still their two guys. He did comment, I'm glad I stopped to say this, that he does not want John to rush back. They have given John the faith in the go ahead to heal accordingly. That might not make a lot of people happy, because even me, I was like, because you're paying them a lot of money.
That's amazing, actually.
But it's actually amazing that you let this, because I never want this in the back of my mind. Did I come back too soon? Or, now I feel guilty, so I gotta come back. So he said that he is the permission. He absolutely, please heal. Please get better. Please get stronger. Please rehab accordingly. And I ain't mad at that either. I'm not mad at that either. There's a lot of talks about the Wizards trading Bradley Beal. None of that came up in the interview. None of that came up. Ted's still talking like, these my two guys. These are my two all-stars. These are the two leaders of this team. We're still building around them. And that's where his investment is. That's where his investment is. And he's the owner of the team. I don't even know how we going to get to the Redskins, because when we can switch to this on this topic about owners. And he was like, the owners, you don't want to be too involved in the day-to-day.
That's true.
Right? Because then that appears to be micromanaging. But at the same token, he can acknowledge that he let the reins go a little too much. And he acknowledged that, and that was not a good idea. That wasn't a good deal. So, what y'all want to talk about with the Redskins? Because I got a bunch of stuff I can talk about with the Redskins in 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes. Let's go back to Miss Cheryl's question about the cornerback, Jimmy Moreland. All I can say about Jimmy Moreland is, it's difficult. It's OTAs. It's just May. He has the right attitude, and he's good. He's good. But then you covering our wide receivers that ain't that good. So, you know what I'm saying? I get excited with some of the receivers. You're like, but where he's been making the big plays have been versus the receivers that are not that good. You're only as good as your opponent. It's not. So, is not. So, that's how we gonna roll with that comment. So, we'll let that one go. But he's good. He's as advertised. He's good. And he's got the right attitude. Very energetic. And he wants to play ball. I love it. I do.
2 words.
Mm-hmm.
Montez Sweat. What took us so long?
What?
Sign him.
Oh, I don't know. That I don't know.
They said he's been showing off the whole time. He's great. He's good. We were at the draft party. We wanted him. They cheered him on.
Yeah,
It's been like 3 weeks.
They had to work on something. He's been there.
And they said he's out playing the veterans on the field. Well, I know he's playing for his job, but.
Well, at the same token, all the veterans aren't there. Yeah. So that's a great segue, because one of the things that I talked about that I truly enjoyed was the fact that we got these new offensive linemen, and they big. Mm-hmm. Like Wes Martin, I want to talk about him at some point. Wes Martin, and I don't want to say, and Ross Pershbaker. I didn't want to say his name wrong. Ross Pershbaker. I want to talk about them. Because the first day, I was impressed, but I was probably impressed because I'm like, yeah, we got some big, all right. Let's go. And as the week has gone on, the defensive line is just swallowing them up. They can't even get much done on the offensive line. But that bothers me because that means you definitely need Trent. You definitely need Trent at 100%. You definitely need Morgan at 100%. You need Brandon Sheriff at 100%. Because we're going against each other.
Right.
So this isn't you got to talk about your opponent.
Right.
So if you getting swallowed up here, what we gonna do over at FedEx Field? So that's a big challenge right there. But it's May. It's May. I'm going to tell y'all, Case Keenum warming up. It's going to be a quarterback competition.
Really?
He warming up. He's warming up. He warming up. He know what it is. And at the end of the day, he don't want to start behind a rookie, would you? So, like, I wouldn't. So, I mean, like, Montez Sweat he's the goods. He's the goods. He is as advertised. It's not a joke. It's not a game. He is as advertised. And so far what I see is these guys are ready to work. Right. That's one thing I really like about this draft class right here is their work ethic. They about business. They not coming in off the jokey, laughy. They coming to play football.
It's about time.
Yeah, they coming to play football. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But it's still just May. Next week is the start of veteran camp. So we'll see how that goes. And I just want everybody to be healthy at this point. I think the first day of OTAs and Rule Foster going down there, that made everybody nervous. Like, here we go. So hopefully everybody stays healthy throughout the season because we got a long way to go. So much more to talk about. And we are at our time for this week. Y'all, this was awesome, as always. Thank y'all. I'm still looking because I feel like it was something else I was supposed to tell y'all. And I'm sure there is. And I'm sure I'll tell you next week. Or I'm sure I'll tell you on one of my social media pages. Make sure you're following, by the way, at CWall Sports on Instagram, on Facebook, CWall Sports and Entertainment, and on Twitter at CWall SE. All right? Cool. I'll see y'all next week.